I had research go back and see if we've had two pick sixes by the same guy in less than 4 minutes. Miami's Mike Kozlowski versus the Jets in 1983. He returned two touchdowns, two pick sixes in a span of 61 seconds. 61 seconds. Two touchdowns. Carson Palmer joining us now. Have you ever had multiple pick sixes in a game?
Morning, Dan. First off, 6'5", 238 as of this morning. But I don't think I've had two. I know I've thrown one a handful of times in games, but two makes you want to go crawl up underneath that injury tent on the sideline and hide.
What's it like, though, when you throw it and you want to make the tackle, but you probably know you shouldn't make the tackle, but what's that mentality when you throw an interception?
Got to make the tackle. I mean, it hurts when you throw a pick, obviously, for your own fan base. And as a player and as a quarterback, you're worried about your teammates. You're worried about letting your team down. You're worried about defensively statistics. You know those guys on the other side of the ball in your own locker room don't want to give up points. And those points go on the defensive side of the ball and the defensive coordinator's stats. So as the quarterback, you just feel bad that you let your team down, and you got to make that tackle and make up for the bad play you made.
Can you help me understand the taunting rule? That I don't know where it came from, like who complained about it, but it's a big deal in trying to understand these taunting penalties now of what is celebration and what is taunting.
Yeah, I mean, it's when the league decides to start a new rule and enforce a new rule, like, a defenseless receiver or leading with the crown of the helmet or hitting a quarterback low, they come with a vengeance and they come with force. And as fans and as players, they end up most likely averaging themselves out. As frustrated as you get when you have a big third down sack and your defense is going off the field and that flag comes out, it hurts when you think it's a bad call if it's a late hit on the quarterback or a personal foul. But they end up, as the season continues to go on, typically averaging out, and some of those calls end up going your way, and you're not as mad then.
But did you ever have one of those moments where somebody taunted you, or what is over the line in taunting, in your opinion?
Well, from the league stance now, you can't even really look at a player after you make a good play and in his direction, say anything or spin the football or you just can't do anything. And it's the same thing that we would go through in the team meeting rooms after games when coach would put up the personal fouls or whatever it was from the week before. Everybody gets pissed that they threw a flag and it could have lost the game or it could have changed the game. But, at this point, as a defender or an offensive player, when you make a great play, you just need to look up in the stands and taunt the stands, because as soon as you turn to another player, that flag's coming out the rest of the season.
Okay, explain this to me. Lamar Jackson has a touchdown where he does a somersault into the end zone. Now, he's not taunting anybody, but it feels like he's taunting everybody on that defense by doing a somersault, Carson.
I think if he would have gotten done with a somersault, jumped up and spun the football in a defender's face or said something to a defender, they might have thrown it. But like I said, I mean, when the league decides to make a change, the league comes up with a new rule, you need to just ride that wave. Some of them are going to go for you. Some of them are going to go against you.
Lamar Jackson, I wondered if Baltimore would just go empty backfield and let him stand back there and either add another lineman or another wide receiver. But how difficult would that be to try to stop him? Or maybe I should ask, how difficult would that be for Baltimore to have that kind of philosophy on offense?
The problem, the reason they can't is because they have 15 more games, and they need Lamar to stay healthy. And I mean, I love watching the guy play. He's one of the most exciting players in the league right now, outside of Kyler Murray, in my opinion. But you got 15 more games of Lamar. You got to keep him healthy. There's so much he wants to do with the football. He wants to put a shoulder in defenders. He wants to run guys over. But again, you got a lot of football left, and they need him on the field. If he's not on the field, they're a completely different team.
But do you want exciting? Kyler Murray's exciting. Lamar Jackson's exciting. Mac Jones is not exciting. There's certain guys by design. Exciting always feels like you're teetering on the edge of something could be unbelievable, but it could be unbelievably bad as well.
Yeah, and when you think about the best to ever play, Brady's as unexciting as it gets, and he's got a whole fistful of Super Bowl rings. So exciting sells tickets, exciting gets you Monday night football games if you're an owner. But at the end of the day, consistency is what you want. And, Brady's been really the epitome of that. It's not super fun to watch. I'd much rather sit around and, watch a Kyler Murray run around and make plays. But at the end of the day, Brady gets it done time and time again.
But as a quarterback, when you would look at game film for the upcoming opponent, did you ever look at the opposing quarterback and help your defense in any way? Like, could you see things that could help your defense? Would that ever be part of your role?
No, I mean, at the NFL level, the defensive coaches are so good. They're seeing what probably your own quarterback is seeing. So, when you start studying for a Sunday game on Monday or Sunday night, you're so focused on what you're doing on offense and so focused about the game plan and the formations and all the adjustments you have at the line of scrimmage. You don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to study also the opposing team's quarterback. So, quarterbacks are worried about themselves and perfecting their game as much as they can.
We're talking to Carson Palmer, Heisman Trophy winner, of course, spent 15 years in the NFL. You were part of Hard Knocks, weren't you? Was that 2015?
No, I did Hard Knocks probably in like 2008, 09, 10, and then we did the Amazon series in 2015.
But
All or Nothing.
Did they spend a week with you on just watching how you prep for a game?
I did that with Peter King. Peter King did a deal where he came and stayed with me in Arizona and kind of walked him through what it's like to play quarterback in the NFL.
Wait, he stayed in your house in Arizona?
No, he was
okay.
in Arizona for the week. He came over to my house at night when I was studying and would just it was really awkward. I was sitting in my office at night. My kids were asleep. My wife was in bed. And I was over in the office, sitting there studying. And I would kind of look out of the corner of my eye, and Peter was sitting on the couch just watching me. It was really kind of eerie, but
no, that's called creepy.
That's why
Carson.
He's the best. I mean, he's willing to sneak into somebody's house at 11 o'clock at night and watch them study, and then he was there first thing in the morning, jumped in my truck, and rode to work with me.
Okay, but what would I see if I watched you study prep for an opponent?
I think everybody's different. I know some guys like to kind of sit back, on a couch and take notes. I always had to be sitting at my desk, and I had my computer connected to a TV on the wall, and I had my notebook out. It's just hours and hours and hours. Everybody does a little bit different. I would start and just draw up every possible blitz that team had run in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and then go through all the protections we were using that week and make sure all the protections matched up and find the ones that don't match up, where you don't have a way to pick up a specific blitz on defense and figure out how I was going to get into the game and adjust that. So, I mean, it's just every guy's different. Everybody has a different routine, but a lot of it sits at a desk with a computer and a TV and a notebook, drawing and taking mental notes and jotting down notes.
How often would you design a play?
Never. Well, now I do all the time. I'm coaching 7th grade football in Idaho, so I'm coming up with all kinds of stuff now. But I played for some great ones. I mean, Bruce Arians and on down the list. And if I ever tried to walk into Bruce's offense and show him a play I would run, you would hear so many MFs, "Get out of my office. That's my job. What are you doing?" So I knew my role. I stayed in my lane, and I just tried to execute the plays that the coaches drew up.
How can you explain Jameis Winston that he giveth and taketh away? That desire to maybe not have that, whatever it is that says throw it away, like gunslinger. Brett Favre could do it, but he also threw 300 interceptions in his career.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a huge year for Jameis. He's had some greatness, like in week 1 with the 5 touchdowns, and we've seen some greatness of from a handful of years he was in Tampa. But when it consistently shows up in different offenses, when you got different jersey on a different helmet, at some point, you're running out of runway. If it continues to go, I would. I mean, they're only 1-1, but I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a little bit more of the dual threat there in New Orleans right now, with both quarterbacks getting more and more action with some of the decisions that he's been making as of lately.
If USC asked your opinion for the next head coach?
I don't have one guy on the top of my list. I think there's a lot of really good candidates. I just like that we've got pole position. We fired our coach first, so we're starting the process right now. And there's been years where, you see a team that waited a little too long, fired a coach, and that coach would actually have rather gone to that place, that university, or that organization, but they had to take a job because somebody fired somebody earlier, and they started that recruiting process, the next head coach. So I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know that Mike Bowen knows who it's going to be just yet. I just like that we're the first ones out the gate. Every coach out there knows that our job is open. I would think it's an attractive job for every other college coach and just, most NFL guys. So we've got pole position. We've got an opportunity to hire the best of the best when these guys come available.
That atmosphere at Penn State this weekend against Auburn, that whiteout was unbelievable. The toughest environment you ever played in was where?
Man, I loved going to Baltimore, watching that game last night, Kansas City and Baltimore last night. There's something special about Baltimore.
But what about college? Did you have
college? Well, I went to Florida State as a freshman in the Peter Warwick, Chris Winkie national championship year, and we got absolutely drummed. But that place rocks. When Florida State is good, there isn't a whole lot going on in Tallahassee. Everything that's happening in Tallahassee is in Doak Walker Stadium, and being in that environment, with the chant where the whole it is really, really special and unique.
Do you understand now that when we watch a game, we think it looks easy at times because of the angle of the TV, the cameras, like you watch it now and you're going, God, that guy's wide open. How could he miss him? But when you were playing, you probably thought, you guys don't understand what it's like to play quarterback. The crowd noise and there's blitzing. And this is why fans think, God, how did you miss that throw? It looks easy.
I know. What an idiot. That guy was wide open. Yeah. That's what makes this game so great is everybody can be a coach. Everybody can be a Monday morning quarterback. Everybody thinks coulda, shoulda, woulda done this, done that. And to be honest, there was multiple times I'm watching film on Monday. I'm like, man, I can't believe I missed that easy throw. And man, I can't believe he caught that, or I squeezed that in that window. But that's why being a college fan and NFL fan is so great right now is we all get to have an opinion. We can go on Twitter. We can blow somebody up. We can go to Instagram, all that.
Belichick was asked about if Brady thought Brady could play till he's 50. Tom has talked about that. I don't know if he's serious about it, but Belichick, in his Belichickian way, said, well, if anybody can do it, it's Tom. Could you be 50 years of age and play that position?
That's so old. It's so old. I thought 44 was unachievable, but I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, it just comes down to at some point. I know myself. I've got 12-year-old. My oldest are 12, and at some point, man, I missed the first practice. I missed their first game. I missed their entire soccer season or football season or whatever it is. At some point, your kids really start to grow up. It's different when they're 3, 4, 5 years old, but when your kids are going into their teenagers and you're not going to practices and you can't take them to school and you start missing out on some of that, I think that's probably on his radar right now. And 6 more years is just 6 more years of missed opportunities because as we all know as parents, the kids are gone fast. They're out of your house fast and they're off to college or whatever's next. So at some point, I think Brady's going to have to make that decision. It's going to be more of a family decision and less of a, can my body do this? Can my arms still have that same zip and that same velocity on the football? I think it comes down to him more of, I want to be around my kids before they head off to college.
Yeah, he could always do what I did and just, basically not see them for a few years when I did second shift at ESPN. It worked out well for me. I don't know how my kids are, but, maybe that's the best thing to do. I got to do that and didn't have any guilt there, Carson.
Exactly.
Yeah, but, now you're a grown-up, you're a parent, coach, you're doing it all the right reasons there. Hey, it's great to talk to you again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great day.
That's Carson Palmer. Weekly appearance in the NFL season brought to you by our partner, Level Select CBD. Looking for next relief? Visit levelselectcbd.com.